Hey everybody, it's Good Time Gal and welcome back. Today is April 19th. That is National Garlic Day. Yeah. National Garlic Day. What a lovely day. This is for my pasta lovers and this is for those cooks who love a bold flavor. So, what is National Garlic Day all about? Well, to tell you the history about garlic, garlic has been around for thousands of years. And not only does it help with food, but it's also used for medicinal purposes in some cultures. So, garlic is one of those humble ingredients that can change any dish with just an ounce of it. So that's why we appreciate garlic and we want to celebrate it. Today we're going to be doing a super easy pasta dish. And I know some of us love pasta, so we can just add this to our roster. So let's begin. Today's recipe is going to be super easy, so I don't want you to freak out, okay? It's going to be 8 ounces of pasta, 1 head of garlic, a nice head of garlic. Then you're gonna want 2 teaspoons of olive oil. You're gonna want half a cup of pasta water reserved. So when we make this pasta, we're gonna take half a cup of the water that we used and we're gonna set it aside. Then we're gonna use 1/4 of a cup of our Parmesan cheese. And last but not least, salt and pepper to taste. We'll top it with some Italian seasoning or parsley. It's all up to you. The first part of this is roasting our garlic. So I've got my oven set at 400 Fahrenheit. I'm going to use this pan right here, and it's very easy. So I'm going to take my garlic, and I want to keep this in case on because it's going to keep in the flavor. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop the top. That's it. So I want that to show. I'm going to take wax paper. You can take wax paper or foil. It's your choice. I'm putting him in this wax paper. And I'm going to drizzle olive oil on him. Close him up, and then in the water he goes. And then we'll work on the part where we're going to be doing our pasta. So what I like to do is I like to put a little salt in the water because that helps soften our pasta. And I'm going to do a splash of olive oil, just enough. We'll use the remaining for the rest. And remember, we're not going to throw out all of our water. We're going to save it for half a cup. And I am not going to break my noodles. I'm going to wait until this water softens this half, and then I'll just gently push my noodles in. The reason we don't want to break the noodles is because you don't want to ruin your luck. In Asia and Italy, it is bad luck if you break the noodle. If you keep your noodles intact, you're supposed to have longevity and abundance. So that is a big reason why we want to make sure we don't mess with the integrity of our spaghetti. And now that I've got them to melt, I'm going to put the top on them and just let them soften a little more. You're doing good. Noodles are almost ready. So I just want to make sure that they're separated. I'm going to test the noodles to see if they're done. Yes, they are. So now I'm going to use a heat-proof measuring cup. This is half a cup. I'm just gonna a little bit more. This is my half a cup. I'm gonna set this aside. And then I'm gonna drain the pasta and we'll move on to our next step. Our timer has went off and the garlic is ready. He is roasted to perfection very nicely. So now we're going to transfer him into our pasta dish. He's still pretty hot. So I gotta pick my fireproof gloves up and then I'm just gonna squeeze. See what I'm doing? Just squeezing it out. Because it's roasted, it should come right out. Right out, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think there's a little more in that one. A little more there. They are perfect, but they are also super hot, so be very careful. You saw I have heat-proof gloves so that I don't burn myself to death. And then some of the garlic has kind of stayed in its own case, so it's gonna be really delicious, but I do not want to eat the case. Some like to keep it. So I'm gonna get the remaining out, but I don't want. And some people, they leave it in. They like the crunch, they like the flavor, but me personally, I just like the garlic cloves that are roasted. It's always about your preference and what you're comfortable with, right? Fork. So I'm gonna take a fork and I'm just gonna mush all of the garlic. And I have a low heat going right now. You want to mush it until it turns into a paste. And that's what's happening. This doesn't take long. So don't get caught up in the long part. So this is what it should look like. A nice paste. So that I have it on low heat and it smells delicious. I'm gonna add the rest of my olive oil. It's gonna amp up that bold flavor. I'm gonna keep mixing as I go. And then, of course, the pasta water we discussed. Why pasta water? Pasta water has that starch. Starch is a great binding ingredient when we do sauces, especially pasta. So now you see that it's turning into a nice little sauce. And then I'm gonna add Parmesan. I'm gonna add half my Parmesan now. And then I'm going to stir. It's turning into a lovely sauce, right? That's what we want. Now that we've turned this into a lovely sauce, it's time to add our noodles. Yep, we didn't forget. So you're going to put all of these noodles, in there. And I'm just going to keep twisting. Yeah, I'm gonna twist. Fold my noodles. Remember we do folding? So we're gonna just twist our noodles into the sauce. Yes. And because it's on low heat, the Parmesan is gonna start melting with the garlic and the olive oil. Very nice. You're doing great. More Parmesan, the rest. Then I'm gonna add some pepper. I'm gonna add a little salt, not too much, just enough for a little flavor. And then of course, a little parsley. I'm using dried parsley. My recipe calls for fresh parsley, but again, you can do it how you like. We are at my favorite part, testing it out. Now, this is how it should look. Very lovely. I am gonna go a step further and add just a little bit of crushed pepper flakes. If you do it correctly, it's just gonna give you a little more flavor. It shouldn't be too spicy. Yeah. Perfect. The roasted garlic with the Parmesan. Ooh. You did that. Pat yourself on the back. Yes. So from my kitchen to yours, happy National Garlic Day. Well, that's all the time we have. Happy National Garlic Day. Who knew today would be so bold and savory? If you've enjoyed this, like I have, please feel free to check out my channel description that has some really great cooking aids for you, or just go to Amazon or TikTok and purchase my Good Time Gal cookbook. From my kitchen to yours, happy cooking.